All right, what's going on, everybody? Can you hear me all right? I've kind of redid a bit of the setup, like the audio levels and everything. I also have the synth kind of in the middle today. It's a little bit larger. I'm trying another setup with, I don't know, just how things are kind of arranged. So let me know if you guys can hear me okay and if everything else is good. I've also increased the bit rate and a couple of other... Music could go down a little bit. All right. Is it even on anymore? Like my level meter just says it cut out. But for me, it keeps having what looks like frame rate issues. Not smooth. Freaking it looks like frame drops or lag stuttering. It might or might not be. Definitely let me know if the music is still there because my audio meter says there's nothing coming through that channel. Okay, it might just be like a graphical issue with OBS then. All right, is anybody else? Oh yeah, the music dropped. That's what I thought. Motherfucker. All right, so let me just delete this thing and try to create a new one. It keeps dropping. Encoding overload. All right, yeah. So let me change some settings. It might cut out the stream. I'm not entirely sure. All right, give me 1 second. I think I increased the settings of the stream by too much. So... oh no. Let's give this a try. Alright, so yeah, I've decreased the bit rate and also changed my CPU usage a little bit. So maybe it'll be better. Wow, it says I'm like streaming at like 7 kbps. All right, so is the music still there? Can anybody confirm that or not? There is also a little bit of a lag from when I speak to it actually being broadcast. It's like 30 to 60 seconds, so it might take us a second to actually get all these technical kind of issues resolved, but we'll definitely get there. No music. All right. I'm going to try to do this again. All right. Move. The music came back? What the fuck? Oh no. See, yeah, so I got a microphone. It's picking up the sound from my speakers. So that's where you hear the music, which is why it's really low. But it should be just like directly capturing the audio from my desktop. And that little thing seems like it's crashing. All right. I added it back. So the music should be there now. But whether it actually sticks around and doesn't crash is another question. Yeah, it's picking up the audio from my mic. The music... should be back now, but yeah, the question is whether it crashes or not. Alright, the music is there, but it's loud. Alright, I'm turning it down. Okay, it should be much quieter now. So let me know if the audio levels are good or not with music, or if I just slowly adjust some things. Okay, too quiet, too loud, or is it good right now? All right, I'm just gonna roll with this right now. All right, great. Cool, well, thanks for coming to the stream, guys. Sorry for the extended delay. Like, I have a herniated disc in my neck, which has caused me all kinds of fucking grief over the last couple of months. I was basically out of it for several months. It's getting a lot better now, but I'm basically still got like a shit ton of stuff to catch up on, so I'm gonna be a little bit slow, like getting content and releases out the next little while. But I am at least like largely back to functionality and getting things to work. So yeah, like Hyperflux is out now. There's a couple of other updates with the release. The most significant one is that the the updated video system should have a bit more stability now. It should be a little bit more resilient to crashes of the cameras and should not be crashing the synth as much. It had a few reports of things still going a little haywire for some people, but that should definitely be improved. Yeah, so there's also just random bug fixes in that release and a little bit of an update to the screensaver as well. There's a lot of complaints about it going dark a little bit more frequently than it should, which is basically never. Yeah, that should definitely be improved now, although it still might need a little bit of tweaking. It's still going to get dim, but it should never go entirely black. Another note, there's a Patreon set up for the project now. You can find it in the announcements channel. So there's a couple of tiers, like the free tier, I'm going to just use that for like advanced announcements, mostly for like random sales. Like every once in a while I do like these flash sales where I sell synths for really cheap. I'm going to put some announcements there beforehand. At some point in time, I'm also going to be selling, I got a bunch of like synths with like cosmetic issues or with like a port or LED that doesn't work. So I'm probably going to sell some synths for like 50% off, and I'll announce that in the Patreon before I actually put it on Instagram and that kind of stuff. The more interesting thing though is that there are a couple of like low monetary cost paid tiers, and those are going to be used to give people access to like instruments like Hyperflux when they come out. So I have a couple of new instruments in the works for the next, I don't know, 6 months or so. And people that are on these paid tiers will get access to those kind of instruments a little bit earlier than everybody else. The more exciting thing that I'm not going to talk about too much, though, is that people in those Patreon tiers will also get access to beta test and alpha test new physical hardware. And I'll have a little bit more to say about that later in the year. But that is something you can definitely be expecting. But yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to mention about this. So I'm going to get started. What we're actually going to do today first is I'm going to live stream creating a tutorial video. So I have these tutorials on my YouTube channel, which basically you guys should all watch if you haven't, because that's basically where the majority of the genuine informative content is for the synth. And I have tutorials about like all kinds of aspects of the UI and all the instruments and so forth. And I need to make a new one for the Hyperflux instrument. So that's what I'm going to do today, is I'm basically going to record this video. Ah, shit, the audio dropped out. Motherfucker. All right. So I think I have to restart OBS, which I'm going to try to reuse the same stream. I don't know if I can. I might have to create a new stream, and if I do, I'll post that in the Discord, all right? So I'm going to restart OBS right now because the music keeps dropping out. All right, I'll be back hopefully not too long from now. All right. Not quite sure if I'm back or not. Okay, great. That seems like it actually worked. Incredible. So, great. Yeah, hopefully that solves the audio issues. I would assume it's just something stupid, some kind of dumbass glitch from OBS. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm going to make a tutorial video that basically just covers the Hyperflux instrument, which should be informative. It should be about 10 minutes. And then after that, we'll just dive into like making patches and stuff like that. All right, so give me 30 seconds and I'll get started with that. All right, great. I'm gonna get rid of the chat overlay. I'll bring her back in a few minutes. All right, where are we, chat? How's it going, everybody? So today we are here with a tutorial video for the new Hyperflux instrument for the Recursion Studio. So this is a brand new instrument. It was released in May of 2025 as a free update to all owners of the synth. So if you haven't yet, you can just plug in your Wi-Fi dongle and then go to Settings, Update, and you should be able to download the newest update, which is update 124, which has this instrument. So we're going to dive right into it. So what this instrument is it's sort of a combination of the recurse instrument and the interference instrument. So the recurse instrument is a video feedback simulation where it's feeding back these generative shapes that are created by the seed module. This behaves in a similar way. It's in some ways a little bit simpler. The recurse module is pretty much identical. The color module is pretty much identical. The modulation module is the same as it is in all the other instruments. But instead of the seed, which is kind of like borders that are textured and have a whole bunch of weird effects on them in the recurse module, we use a Wave 2D module right here, which generates a two-dimensional waveform, kind of like which is used in the interference instrument. And this two-dimensional waveform is what is fed back on itself. So let's just dive into here. So the two-dimensional waveform in particular here is identical to a modulation channel. So I'm going to go in here and do preview. And this is the waveform that we're generating. We're using this radial waveguide right here, and we're using a cosine wave. So it's generating a radial pattern. We can make it have a square pattern. We can make it have a linear left to right pattern. And then you can change like the waveform, which just kind of changes the shape right there. So it's going to have a little more pronounced peaks. It's going to be a saw wave, which hopefully you can kind of visualize there. Square wave, so it's just going to be kind of pulses. So you generate this waveform. All right. Let's go back to triangle wave. And then that waveform gets composed with itself in this recurse module. So the recurse module uses a similar kind of structure to the recurse module in the fractal instrument. It has like a function which provides a transformation. It has like a kaleidoscoping module which provides a degree of symmetry. It's off right now and it's off by default. But it also has like a new blend mode which is called wave blend, which is kind of what allows the wave pattern to kind of get combined with multiple copies of itself. So what we can do right here, there's this blend module in here called only seed, which is just going to give us back that the wave pattern. So this is only a copy of the wave pattern, but then you can kind of see what these other modules kind of do. So there's no recursion happening right now. So this is going to create a three-dimensionally symmetric copy of that wave pattern. You have the symmetry right here. It's four-fold symmetry. We're going to turn that back off. You can kind of control this. And now we're basically just looking at the wave pattern being put through this transformation that happens in the recurse module, but with no feedback. So we're going to reset this back to default. And we'll go back to wave blend. Oh, that's missing a preview. I need to make a note of that. All right. But we're going to turn the alpha all the way back up to 1. And now we're doing recursion because alpha is 1 now. Whoops. We're only getting a copy of the seed. We can slowly add in previous history. We're basically just adding more and more feedback. So that is a very high-level overview of what's going on in here. And then that gets put through the color module, which is pretty similar to the color module from the other instruments, except this one doesn't have any lighting effects, and it's a little more simple. It also has like a palette in here. And we also added a deformation, which is stolen from the Hyperflux or from the Cat Party instrument. Oh, this one also needs a preview. So it's definitely combining a lot of different things from a lot of different instruments here. It's got stuff from Cat Party, it has stuff from Fractal, and it has stuff from the interference instrument. We'll keep this on basic at the moment. So, the default controls are definitely worth putting a little bit of thought into here. So this control right here is like a zoom factor. All right. A very important thing to know for the Hyperflux instrument is that you want this to be close to 1. The closer you get it to 1, the more iterations you'll see in the instrument or in the feedback. If you get it really close to 1, you can start getting like a ton of iterations. This one is kind of like this is a theta control, so this is going to rotate. It just adds a little bit of rotation on each iteration. Alpha is also very important. You definitely want to keep alpha really low too, because that also increases the number of iterations you get in the feedback. You can even turn it all the way down to 0, and then it's just completely state-based. All the way back up to 1, and then you just basically get a colorized version of the wave front that kind of goes into the instrument. There's also frequency right here, which controls the frequency of the wave that's generated from the wavefront. You also have this color frequency right here, which determines the colorization. So you see, as I increase this, it increases the frequency of these like oscillations that they go from right to left. There's another page of controls here too. This one kind of, these are from the recurse module right here. Let me go back in here and turn this down. Turn alpha back down. This is a colorizing control. It changes how much the palette changes as you get out from the origin. This hue, this is basically just a rotation control for the hue, and this changes another colorization control. There are also some buttons right here, which are basically just, there's some LFOs. Some of them are on by default. This one is not. This one makes the color rotate. This makes the angle rotate. And this changes the color palette. So in the Wave 2D module, this is set up basically like, actually, let me go back to the init patch real quick. So the Wave 2D module is a little bit more complicated than the Wave 2D module you'd get in the interference instrument. This is actually identical to a modulation channel. So you also have access to a texture here. So we're going to blend in some video camera input. We're going to change the mod mix to actually start increasing some camera input. I'm going to go inside of here and enable mirroring for the camera. So now when I move my hand left, the image is on the left. All camera input. And you can start doing like wild stuff where you can like tap into other buffers in the system. Let's try to add a cat. See if you can actually see a cat in here. Yeah, sort of. You can actually sort of see a cat. So I'm turning alpha all the way up, which basically means there's no recursion happening right now. And as I turn it down, you start to get more levels and it starts getting more distorted. Yeah, anyways, I don't like to keep these tutorials going on for too long, but I think that's a general overview of how the instrument works. You generate a wave pattern, which right now is a cat. I'm going to switch it back over to the actual generative wave pattern. Then it gets put through the recurse module, which happens similar to what happens in the fractal module. That gets colorized as a post-processing effect. And then you end up with Hyperflux. But yeah, the most important things to know is that it can be very finicky. So you definitely want to keep this value close to 1, and you want to keep alpha close to 0. Besides that, yeah, just mess around with it. You can definitely come up with some really cool stuff. All right, thanks for coming to the tutorial video, guys. All right. So that was that. No, I don't want that. Chat. All right. There we go. Cool. All right. So now I'm just going to go in and fuck around like we have been doing for the last couple of streams. Oh yeah, one more programming note that I forgot to mention. It's probably not going to be for the next like week, or I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks from now. I'm probably 3 or 4. But the next thing that's coming out for the next major feature is going to be preset sharing. So that's going to be coming probably at the beginning of June is the current plan. It's going to be fairly basic. I'm not going to have the onboard browser, but it should still be functional. Yeah, so that's one of the instruments that I am currently like designing as some kind of synthwave looking something. So definitely later this year, maybe even this summer if I get around to it, definitely one of the next like major kind of content updates. I really want to do some 80s kind of synthwave awesomeness, because this thing is basically, I don't know, the perfect platform for that kind of content. All right, so what are we doing here? All right, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go in here and push random for a minute and then see what the fuck happens. I haven't had too much luck with the randomizing feature for this instrument so far. This is actually looking pretty cool. This is using the new deform stuff that's in the color module. It is a little weird to have like the deformation be in the color module, but like color module, it basically kind of it generally acts as like a post-processing module. It is responsible largely for the colorization of the synth, but calling it post-processing, I think would be a little more confusing to people. So I did the slightly less confusing thing and like put some not colorizing effects that are still post-processing in that module. I think I actually, I need to make it not randomize the deform module every single time. This is actually not great. Like these deformations that happen in the color module are like really overpowering any of the Hyperflux stuff. Yeah, this is straight cat party. Yeah, that's kind of like my use case too. Like sometimes I have ideas that sort of pan out, but like mostly like, I don't know, the major selling point of this thing, I think, is just the degree to do the ability to just do like endless kind of experimentation and just kind of come up with like wild shit that you would never like even thought to create. Like it's definitely not like Touch Designer or something where you really just set out to make something very explicit and intentional. Like it's really like an experimentation platform where you kind of like combine some sort of synthesis of ideas you might have with just wait, why is that not here? All right, I'm missing a lot of previews. I'm gonna have to actually get these. I swear to God, I put this one in there. All right, anyways, so that was a failure. I'm gonna make a note to actually disable that deformation on randomize and actually add these presets back. Or the missing previews. Well, maybe I misspoke. Like, I know you can do that kind of stuff with Touch Designer, but like, I think a lot of people come into Touch Designer with like an explicit visualized or conceptualized idea for a project where they have a general idea of what they want to do. And that's not really the use case or the way that I approach this synth. Like, it's so weird and like has such a like large, interesting space already kind of mapped out. Like, I definitely very much use this thing for experimentation, guided by like the ideas and my understanding. But yeah, like this, coming at this explicitly with like, I want to make this kind of project is probably not going to work well. It's not quite as general as a lot of other systems are. All right, so let's go into the color and change something. All right, new color palette. So I'm not sure what you mean by hit automate. I don't believe there's an audio or an automate button on the synth. There's a random button. So when you hit random, if I were to hit random in the color module or in the post-processing module, it's going to randomize only the post-processing, which I can do right now. It's going to choose a random post-processing algorithm. It's going to possibly put some LFOs on some of the parameters, and it might possibly modulate things, but it's only going to change the color. All right, let's keep things green for a minute. Yeah, so in the perform page, so this is actually bad terminology by me. Well, actually, wait. Yeah, so the white buttons on play are the same white buttons that you'll get in create. They're all just LFOs, so none of them should say automate or anything like that. These definitely, in general, all turn on like animation, but they tend to just automate parameters, and by that I mean they put them on like curves, like it'll make it like oscillate for a one-dimensional parameter, most likely on like a sine wave curve, or if it's a two-dimensional parameter, it'll make it kind of move around in two-dimensional space. We go back into here. Actually, let's go create some modulation channels. Actually, I think I can do this, right? All right, so we're going to play around with modulation channel 1. We're just going to load in some audio. It's a little too blocky. All right, so we've got one modulation channel there. Going to channel 2. Let's add some video reactivity to this one. All right, modulation channel 3. Do some more audio reactivity. What is this? And then modulation channel 4, we'll add a mask based on one of the existing textures. Yeah, so there is like a really kind of bad bit of terminology that happens in perform mode. There is an automate button right here, which is the exact same thing as screensaver. I really need to change that because, yeah, some places in the synth it's called screensaver. In some places on the perform mode it's called automation though, which is not great. Mostly just that because I couldn't fit screensaver into this little block right here. But yeah, I'll definitely get that sorted out at some point. But yeah, in general, there's no like automation feature of the synth, although there are definitely LFOs. Ah, fuck, it dropped out. Jesus Christ. I think yeah, just have to reboot my computer at some point. Yeah, anytime the music that happens in the music, just let me know. I think it's probably going to be consistent through the rest of the stream because I'm not going to reboot my computer in the middle of this. Well, I could, I guess. The music should be back now. Sorry about that. I really don't know why it keeps happening. Alright, so I've created some modulation channels. And again, this is what they look like. Got two audio active ones, one that's based on the camera and another that's based on part of the synth. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the color module right here. We're going to start modulating some of these parameters. Oh, I'm not doing that. Kind of cool. That is also cool. That is kind of gnarly. I'm just going to put this parameter on an LFO. If you guys didn't know, there are buttons on the knobs. You can kind of scroll over to LFO here. And then now it's basically turning the effect on and off. I think I might change the effect though. Too much. All right. So now we're going to go into the Wave 2D module and mess around with this. I'm going to blend in some audio activity. So there's a couple of buffers in here which are derived from the audio system. So I'm going to blend in some of that. Alright, I'm then going to automate this parameter on an LFO. I'm going to put it on a rose curve. Let's just change this to some other random stuff. Alright, make this slow. Alright. So what we just did we're working on the wave that's fed into here. So it's a combination of this radial wave pattern, which is being put through a sine wave, which is why you get the that kind of shifts abruptly from white to black. It's being blended a little bit with the FFT texture. And the center of the wave is moving around on a rose curve, which basically just means it kind of oscillates somewhat randomly through two-dimensional space. We can also... I'm going to put this on an LFO. It's going to go from frequency of 1 to frequency of 3. Ah, there we go. All right. So now, actually, I'm going to shift it off of the green color palette. I'm getting a little tired of that already. I always really like this color sphere effect. Let's try modulating some of these parameters in here. That looks cool. All right, what are we doing now? Yeah, so now we're going to modulate this parameter right here. It's going to give it some kind of wild distortions. I'm going to switch the effect off of this black and white effect to something else. I always love this effect. Trying to think how I can make it a little bit less chaotic. I wonder if the color frequency effect or control can help that. So you're being modulated by this. Let's turn that down. Well, we definitely don't want it large. Actually, I'm going to turn the LFO that's oscillating the color frequency off. Or the oscillating the effect amount off. I just think I just want that to be fully on because this looks awesome. And this is the HSV Madness effect, which is one of the cooler effects on the synth. All right, I'm going to turn the modulation on this channel down a little bit. So this is all the way off. So it's now, so this is all the way on just to get some sense of what it's doing. It uses the music to kind of like distort the space. I'm going to turn that on a little bit. All right, now we're going to go and do the fun stuff. We're going into the recurse module, and we're just going to start playing around with all this kind of stuff. You see, when I put alpha too large, a lot of the feedback just basically goes away. So you definitely want to keep this as sort of like a low point, all the way to 0, and you just get the closest thing to chaos you're going to get. So you want it a little bit, I don't know, just finding the right point somewhere less than like 0.1 is definitely what you want to do. I'm going to put this on an LFO as well. I'm going to make it go from like 0.9 to 1.1. It might be a little bit too large, but we'll do it anyways. Oh, that was supposed to be min. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go back into here and turn off the LFO on this origin. Although I am going to move it off to the side a little bit. Thank you. I'll definitely get that fixed before the next stream, assuming I can actually figure out what it is. I'm going to change the LFO on the frequency here too to make it a little bit less high frequency. If you ever catch me lying, All right. I'm going to turn down the color frequency in here. Oh, you're being modulated. I'm doing a little bit of it. I want the colors to be a little bit less chaotic. I'm not entirely sure what's causing that, but I think I might just live with it. Let's add some symmetry. And then kind of offset this thing. This is cool. I'm gonna turn this off of the electro. There's still another LFO somewhere. I think I'm gonna turn it off. I don't know where it is, so you go to the list of LFOs. I think it's probably the frequency LFO. It's not. What the hell is it? It's the phase LFO? I think it must be. I think there's an LFO in the default LFOs, which just rotates this angle a little bit. Now I'm just gonna play with it manually. Let's change the palette. No, I actually did like this. I'm going to turn down this mod mix. So it's still going to mix in some audio, but not quite as much. Should be back now. mean, we have those in no short supply. Ah. We'll change the colors. I'm getting tired of this color palette. Oh, I got rid of like all the cool stuff that was happening. Probably should have saved that, huh? Totally broke it, huh? Oh well. All right, starting over. Oh God. All right. All right, I like where this is headed. Fuck. Alright, I'm probably just gonna call this stream in not too long just because this audio shit's driving me nuts. I'm gonna make the center of this modulation pattern move around. Pretty sure that is this guy. No. Let's change the wave. Square wave. Oh, there's no previews for those either. How did that happen? All right, anyways. Try a different color palette. Cool. Turn on a little bit more animation. I think the phase is what I'm looking for. All right, we created a patch after much work. All right, I think I am gonna call the stream though. I'm already exhausted. Sorry for the short stream, but I will be back next weekend, I believe. All right, anybody have any questions or anything like that? I know my tutorial is kind of brief and a little all over the place, but now's the time if you have any particular questions about Hyperflux or anything else that's going on. So yeah, good question. So for a while, the beat reactivity button was just like 100% broken, and nobody. It was broken for like 3 or 4 months, and nobody really complained. So what I have done is I fixed the beat reactivity button, but I deleted all of the events that it was triggering. So how the beat reactivity button works in general. So yeah, first, definitely people need to know that like the synth is audio reactive even when this is not enabled. That was a big point of confusion that people had. They would turn it on and it would get really spazzy, and then they didn't realize that they didn't need to be turning it on. So what this thing does, it detects like a beat in the audio signal. And every time it detects a beat, it would choose from a list of the IO mappings of type beat, all right? And let's just make it do this. One second. What do we even want to make it do? We're gonna make it set. All right, so we've created this beat. Yeah, whatever. All right, we're gonna make a new one. All right, so I've created 4 beat events right here, all right? So every time it detects a beat, it's going to choose 2 of these and randomly execute these actions, all right? Might take it a second to actually detect the beat, and it's not going to because the music dropped out. All right, let me do something that has like a strong beat. Probably too confusing. Let me go into here. All right, it should be able to figure out this beat. And this button should start flashing every time it detects a beat. It might take it a second to actually lock onto what's going on. Let me turn the gain up a little bit. It should work. I haven't tested it in a while, but might still be broken, who knows? There are some settings that might be affecting it. No, come on. Whoops, wrong button. Let's turn this stuff down. Might still be broken. I really don't know. Anyways, I'll have to look into this. It doesn't seem like it's working for some stupid reason. This really should be able to detect a beat in this music because this is just straight 4 on the floor stuff. Let me try one more track. Maybe the volume's not loud enough. Let me turn the gain up a little bit more. Yeah, all right. It doesn't look like this is working. I will get that fixed and maybe make a video about it at some point in time, because this is definitely like one of the... Yeah, I mean, that's generally the idea. Oh, there it is. It just detected one. What the fuck is going on? Anyways, yeah, I haven't touched this stuff in a while. It was definitely like one of the least baked features in the entire synth. It has a potential to be cool, but I haven't had the time to actually like really get in there and make it behave in the way that I was happy with. So I'll need to go through here and actually like see if I can make it make a little more sense, and also work. You know, probably the first step. Anyways, yeah, thanks for coming by, everybody. I will let you guys know when some new stuff is coming. All right. See you guys around.